Mystery 8 Blind Frog Ranch in the remote reaches of northeastern Utah, where the wind whistles secrets across desolate plateaus and strange happenings seem sewn into the soil. Blind Frog Ranch remains a puzzle wrapped in sandstone and whispers. Known for its unusual energy readings, unexplained lights, and tales of buried gold, the ranch has drawn prospectors, scientists, and thrill-seekers alike. But no anomaly in its history quite matches the tremors and skyfire that began late one summer evening in 2025. It started, as many strange things do, with a silence too deep to ignore. The kind of silence that presses against the ears, unnatural in a desert that usually crackles with insects, wind, and distant coyotes. The few ranch hands working the site that night, understaffed, wary of recent breakdowns in equipment, felt the stillness before the earth groaned beneath them. Not a quake, they insisted later, not the normal rumble of tectonic plates shifting far below. This movement rolled in waves, rhythmic like a chant or a heartbeat amplified through the ground. The instruments buried across the ranch, left by a team of visiting geophysicists, went haywire. Seismographs produced jagged, looping patterns that defied interpretation. Accelerometers danced without cause. Compasses spun, and then came the thunder. Not the usual roar of summer storms or the echoing boom of distant military tests. This thunder sounded as if it were vocal, resonant, echoing through canyons in deep pulses. Low, guttural sounds that almost formed syllables. The sky, eerily cloudless, flashed with green and copper lightning, arcing horizontally rather than descending. Light that cracked sideways, skipping across the valley like skipping stones on an invisible lake. Local Ute folklore speaks of sky spirits, guardians, and beings not bound by the normal rules of man or nature. Some called it Wakatenka, others had no name at all, only stories. The Aztecs, far to the south, once believed in gods of thunder and war who could split the skies with fury and herald change with tremors. They feared the arrival of certain signs, twin serpents of flame, skyward drums, or lights with no source. Few had ever drawn a direct connection to Blind Frog Ranch until that night. The owners of the property, long fascinated by tales of hidden Aztec gold buried beneath Utah's strange geology, had just begun excavation near an unusually dense magnetic anomaly. The site was aligned, perhaps coincidentally, with ancient ley lines mapped by archaeoastronomers. In the days leading up to the incident, drillers reported hitting hollow spots, echoing chambers that didn't appear on ground-penetrating radar. One worker claimed to have unearthed a slab covered in strange etchings, glyphs not from any known tribe of the region. He said the markings shimmered in low light and gave off a sound, something like distant bells. No one believed him, of course, until the ground broke open. It wasn't an earthquake in the traditional sense. The earth didn't split with violence, it parted. A long, straight fissure extended for nearly a mile, slicing through scrubland and fractured rock. Out of the crevice came a warm mist, scented faintly of copper and wet stone, with the disturbing hum of 1,000 wings, not birds or insects, but something more mechanical, more primal than the lights returned. Blue orbs hovered just above the ground, blinking in irregular patterns, tracing the line of the fissure like guardians or sentinels. They pulsed in sync with the booming sky, each flash matched by a pulse of seismic energy too small to be dangerous, but too patterned to be random. One theory proposed that the seismic disturbances were not quakes, but rather acoustic waves, geoacoustics triggered by a change in subsurface pressure. But another theory emerged from a forgotten journal, written decades earlier by a prospector named Elias Greaves, who claimed to have found Aztec relics in the region, carved with lightning bolts and snake-headed gods. He wrote of thunder that speaks, and serpents beneath the stone, of gold guarded by beings who dwell in the fault lines of the earth. Most dismissed Greaves as mad, but some began to wonder if there was truth buried in his ramblings. The seismic waves, recorded and analyzed by modern software, did appear to follow a pattern. When slowed and translated into audio, the waveforms resembled musical scales used in ancient Mesoamerican rituals. One musicologist from the University of Utah speculated the waveforms were intentional, an encoded message or invocation, possibly triggered by excavation or environmental change. This led to a chilling hypothesis. Perhaps the ranch sat not just on unstable geological ground, but over a forgotten ritual site, an altar of some kind, once designed to summon or honor celestial forces. The Aztecs believed in sacred geography, constructing temples and altars over points of spiritual. Or their predecessors traveled farther north than previously believed. Further analysis of the slab uncovered near the fissure revealed microscopic flecks of gold, mixed with an alloy not native to the area, part platinum, part something unidentified. A metal that resonated when exposed to certain frequencies. The humming heard during the fissure's opening matched one such tone. The theory grew darker. What if this material was a key or lock, and the drilling had undone it? In the days following the event, wildlife behavior shifted radically. Birds avoided the area. Coyotes circled at a distance, howling at unseen shapes. Even the insects were absent. A strange pressure hung in the air, as if the atmosphere itself had thickened. Drones sent over the fissure lost signal inexplicably. One drone that returned carried surface dust laced with magnetic particles that hadn't been there before. A small group of researchers, undeterred by risk, set up a temporary observatory near the edge of the rift. At exactly 3:17 am, 3 nights after the initial event, the thunder returned. But this time, it came from below. A bass-heavy vibration shook the ground, and the blue orbs emerged again, this time accompanied by shadows moving within the mist. Thermal cameras recorded upright figures, too tall and thin to be human, moving in fluid, flickering motions. Their outlines glitched, as if not bound by the same frame rate as reality. Some claimed to see headdresses, elongated limbs, or patterns like ancient armor woven into their form. But the recordings were inconclusive. Batteries drained rapidly. Data was corrupted. The team retreated. Speculation exploded online. Theories ranged from ancient civilizations accessing trans-dimensional gateways to geo-engineered hallucinations caused by magnetic field anomalies. A few claimed this was proof that the gods of the Aztecs were not metaphors but ancient intelligences, real entities that once shaped history, now disturbed from long dormancy. Still others proposed a more grounded, though no less chilling, idea that the events were being orchestrated, part of a long-running secret experiment in deep earth resonance or exotic energy mining. A cover-up cloaked in local legend. In the following weeks, the fissure mysteriously closed, gradually, like a healing wound. The sky returned to silence. The strange light ceased. Instruments stabilized. But not everything went back to normal. The rock around the former anomaly now showed signs of accelerated aging, weathered in ways that suggested centuries, not weeks. Some of the researchers exhibited unusual symptoms: dreams in ancient languages, nosebleeds without cause, and an inexplicable fear of thunder. One man went missing entirely, last seen walking toward the closed fissure before vanishing from sight in broad daylight. To this day, no full explanation has emerged. Blind Frog Ranch remains closed to the public, heavily monitored, its perimeter patrolled under the pretext of geothermal research. But those who've been there, Those who've heard the thunder speak and seen the lights burn blue in perfect rhythm know that something ancient stood beneath the desert. Whether it was an earthquake or the echo of long-sleeping gods, no one can say for sure. Only that it left a scar not just on the land, but on reality itself. The high desert of northeastern Utah is no stranger to legend. Its mesas rise like forgotten fortresses, its canyons whisper stories that slip between the rocks, and beneath its sun-scorched surface lies something few dare to name. Blind Frog Ranch, nestled in the Uinta Basin, has long sat at the crossroads of the unexplainable. Stories of buried treasure, strange lights, and electromagnetic anomalies have orbited the property for years, drawing the curious and the skeptical alike. But what happened during the July tremor of 2025 pulled the ranch into a new realm of mystery, one that crossed from geological into mythological. It began, as most strange events do, with a sequence of subtle warnings. Animals vacated the land. Insects vanished. Birds stopped flying over a specific parcel of the ranch. Surveillance footage captured no flocks or even passing clouds, just a strange stillness that hovered like a prelude. At precisely 2:46 a.m. on a windless Tuesday, the earth beneath Blind Frog Ranch began to shiver. Instruments recorded low-frequency waves, slow and deliberate, not the rapid shaking characteristic of tectonic movement. The tremors followed a rhythmic beat. 3 pulses.